Am I the asshole for telling my best friend she's not equal to my fiancé? I am 28 and engaged to a great man the same age as me. We've been dating since we were 16 and got engaged at 24, 4 years ago. I have a best friend, Angela, who's also 28. She's a woman as well as me. Angela has barely grown out of the high school mentality. She still acts like she did back then, clubbing every weekend, hooking up, always out with friends, new and old. She never had a boyfriend or girlfriend, she only has had situationships, so she doesn't know how commitment works. I don't judge her for that since she seems fine with her life, and I'm happy that my friends are being themselves and I get to be myself despite having different interests. Lately I had my suspicions that Angela believes that she still comes before my fiancé, just because we were each other's number one priority in high school. I tried to slip in multiple times, without being confrontational, that my fiancé and I are gonna be a family soon and how he's my priority and so on, just to get the message across without having some uncomfortable conversation. She didn't seem to get it though. And something dramatic ended up happening. Angela's birthday was 2 days ago and she planned on having a celebration tomorrow night. The place she picked was a male strip club. I texted her and told her I wouldn't feel comfortable to attend because strip clubs cross my and my fiancé's boundaries. It's not because we don't trust each other, but we just don't feel comfortable with that in our relationship. Anyone who knows about this boundary has told us it's a normal boundary. Angela said that I would be stupid to imply that I'll skip her birthday. I said that we could hang out the two of us someday and go for drinks, but I just don't feel comfortable attending a strip club. She said, "But I'm your best friend. You're not gonna skip your best friend's birthday, are you?" I said sadly I'll skip it, but I insisted on an alternative for another day. She got disappointed and said she didn't expect me to ever put a man's needs over our friendship. I reminded her he's my fiancé. She argued that him being a fiancé of mine doesn't mean he deserves special treatment over her. I told her that's exactly what she means, and I reminded her that she's not equal to my fiancé anymore in such situations because he's the person I'm gonna marry and have a family with, and he's my number one priority. I probably shouldn't have said that because she claims I'm the asshole and I replaced her when I used to have her as my number one. I apologized for that phrasing and tried to explain what I meant, but she wasn't having it and said I should go cry to my fiancé and she doesn't need my fake apology. I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. I just felt like she was pushing me and had a one-sided competition with my fiancé, and I said that. Am I the asshole? Update. So I come here with an update and the problem is totally behind us now. She was the one to call me and apologized for lashing out at me, and she wanted to meet and talk so we could resolve it and put it behind us. She said that she's scared she's gonna lose me because we've been friends for almost 2 decades and she doesn't want our friendship to stop existing. I told her there's no way that will happen, but as I respect her life choices and I never intervene, she has to respect my choices as well. I listened to some comments who said I'm judgmental of her lifestyle, and I decided to ask her if she ever felt that way about me. She said she never felt like I'm judging her and that I'm more accepting of her lifestyle than some of her friends who also have that lifestyle she has. She said I'm not obligated to agree with her lifestyle and it's her fault she can't realize how different choices work in life because she just never had to experience changing her priorities growing up. I told her it's nobody's fault here, and as long as she doesn't harm anyone directly she can't apologize for making different choices about her own life. The bottom line is that she said she'll try to be more understanding of how priorities shift in people's lives, and she admitted that she was shady a few times just to uplift herself, but realized what she did was wrong and immature and will try to communicate better. I also explained better to her that my fiancé being my priority does not mean I love my friends any less. It just means that since I'm gonna share my life with that person, sometimes their comfort will come first when it's about boundaries. Anyway, I explained in detail what I mean, and that boundaries don't mean I no longer love or respect her, but just like I respect she's chosen that life for herself, she has to choose that this is also the LDIE I chose. As long as I don't actively go out of my way to either insult or ghost her just to back my fiancé, she has nothing to worry about. Her party is today and she decided that we should go have drinks with all the other girls earlier, and later whoever wants to follow to the strip club can go, but she made the plans that way so I could also be included in her birthday celebrations somehow. Now we're good and I'm glad it didn't take long before we could resolve it. Peace. For those who said I'm being judgmental of her lifestyle. FYI, I actually decided to show my friend the Reddit post and the comments, and she laughed her ass off with those butt hurt about the high school mentality comment. She said, "But it's true, I'm still stuck in high school with my spirit. Why do these people take it personally? She also never took offense to me using that phrase. We've used it for years after we ended high school and she never once felt offended. Believe me, if she did feel offended she'd make sure I know, so you people can calm down with those accusations. Just because you've given that phrase a negative meaning it doesn't mean my friend and I use it in a demeaning way. It's a lighthearted comment to us and it's pointless for you to get offended on her behalf when she doesn't even feel offended. She gave me the side eye for writing on Reddit about it, but in a sarcastic, joking manner. She wasn't actually mad. She said she would do the same and she even thought of posting her POV here as well unless our problem was sorted out, but now it's done and we're fine. Thank you for all the comments. Not the asshole. You set a mutually agreed upon boundary, and you're following it. If she can't understand and respect that, she's not your friend. Many people would be uncomfortable having a birthday in a strip club, not just you. If she truly didn't consider that when she made the decision, that's her fault. Also, she was the one who pushed you to prioritize between her and your fiancé. If she wasn't going to be happy with your response, she shouldn't have put you in that position. Not the asshole. You two are growing up, it's life and it happens. How we handle it is up to us. By the sounds of it, you are a good and supporting friend. Even though the dynamic is changing, you are still for them. Just remember, they may not see it that way. All you can do is try your best to remind them they are still important to you, but there are boundaries. Hope this helps and best of luck. Absolutely not the asshole. When friends get married, the relationship dynamic changes. Expecting you to put her over the man you are going to marry and the father of your future children is unreasonable. You also handled yourself very well in the situation, so I would not feel bad about what you told her. You were not hurtful or unnecessarily harsh and you established boundaries. Y'all both need to grow up. Lately I've had my suspicions that she doesn't know where she ranks in my life, so I was sure to slip it in a few times to make sure she knows. Like what? Who asked you to do this? Why are both of you so obsessed with this ranking system? This conversation never had to be about who is more important than who. I don't get why y'all are so obsessed with this. Everyone sucks here because I do think you're judging her despite what you claim. Not having relationships and enjoying going out on the weekends doesn't make her inferior to you. You're not better than her for being engaged. It's not a high school mentality for her to live her life any way she chooses, just like it's not grown up to get engaged. There are 4 million flavors of both of these sets of lifestyle choices, and you say you don't judge her, but you belittled her choices at the same time. She may well understand commitment. She just doesn't choose to be in a committed relationship. If you think that's a valid choice, treat it like a valid choice. That said, not the asshole for choosing to honor something you and your fiancé agreed on. I think all you needed to say was, I'm not interested in going to a strip club, not because anyone else doesn't want you to, but because you don't want to. Your reasons are your reasons, but no is a full sentence. That's where her respect for you needs to begin. Everyone sucks here for someone who thinks she's so grown up. You sure do want to introduce some petty MySpace ranking nonsense to your relationships. It's hardly necessary. You are the asshole for being so judgmental towards someone you claim is your friend. Am I the asshole for expecting my spouse to get a job outside their field? My partner and I have been married for 14 years. We have a 6-year-old kid together. Both of us have master's degrees and I'm working on finishing up my PhD. Shortly after our child was born, my partner lost their job, so they've been a stay-at-home parent while I've been the primary wage earner and insurance carrier for our family. They've also worked part-time, customer service type jobs in places that are related to their interests. Think working in an art supply store for a painter, for 20 hours per week. Kiddo recently started kindergarten and I handle drop-off, pick-up 2 days, and work from home, while partner handles the other 3. Here's the part where I think maybe I'm the asshole. A posting came up for my partner's dream job recently. The job is a full-time, 18-month term limited position with their current employer. Partner is qualified for the job at interviews terribly. They interviewed and didn't get it. I asked partner what their plans were and their response was that they were planning to continue working their current job until another dream job comes open. It could be in 3-6 months, it could be 3-4 years. Partner doesn't want to lose their foot in the door, and also said that they don't think term limited jobs are the right way to go for them because at the end of 18 months, then they wouldn't have a job, so they're planning to wait for a full-time, permanent position to come open. My response was, "Not kind." I told partner that I honestly didn't care if they had a job in their field 18 months from now and that, if they didn't find something between now and then that fit their interests, I expected them to get a job that pays more than $12 per hour and comes with benefits. With their qualifications, I'm sure they could find something like working for an insurance company or state, local government agency. In the meantime, I told them that I expected them to do whatever they needed to improve their interviewing skills and work on an additional credential that may make them more appealing to hire in their field. And to step up their household contributions, because if they're not willing to go get a job that gives us enough dollar to hire out housecleaning and yard maintenance, then I expect them to fill that role while kids in school. Partner wasn't happy with my response and said that I'm basically an asshole for expecting them to give up their dreams when they don't actually need to because financially we're doing okay. For context, my current job doesn't pay amazingly well, but it's decent enough for us to live modestly. We don't need another full-time income, but the extra would be nice, especially because we're both terrible at household maintenance and lawn care tasks. When I finish my dissertation, targeted for next summer, my earnings potential goes up by a good bit, but I would really like to not have to worry about insurance coverage during my job hunt. So, am I the asshole? Sounds like tough love, but I'm going with not the asshole. How are you asking your partner to give up their dreams when they aren't actively working towards them? It's not unreasonable to want your partner to make a certain amount in order to support your family, provided the amount is a reasonable expectation. But you could have handled it better. Instead of telling them you basically don't care about their dreams, you should have just discussed your concerns about income and benefits. Info. Have you ever spoken to your partner about any of this before? The household chores, the money, the job, etc. Not the asshole. Sounds like your partner isn't trying to advance and is happy being an adult babysitter and checkout clerk. Not what I'd want in a partner with a master's degree. Info. You say you're doing okay financially. Is all this stress on your partner and relationship worth a little bit of extra cash? Not the asshole. Your partner's plan to just not attempt to get another well-paying job until a full-time dream job magically appears is ridiculous. ETA plus they don't even interview well, so chances are they'll be applying for and then not getting the few elusive full-time dream jobs that are posted. Not the asshole. But I guess you've been feeling upset with your partner decisions for too long, and this is why your delivery was that rude. It's hard being the breadwinner and support the family when you feel that your partner is not doing their part and seems not being realistic on their expectations. You are the asshole. Not for your expectations, but for the delivery. What you described sounded like you were scolding someone you looked down on, not talking to your partner about your shared life, or even just another adult with respect and dignity. I think all your expectations make sense, and even if I didn't, that doesn't matter since it's between you and your partner, but you approached it in a way that comes across as combative rather than collaborative and supportive. Am I the asshole for not wanting to pay for my husband's funeral? I know this sounds weird, but let me explain. My husband and I married in 2018 after dating for almost 2 years. Shortly after getting married, my mother got sick, so we moved out of state so that I could care for her. He was not too happy about this, but he moved with me. He didn't like the new state we were in, and he quickly stopped working and providing for our household. It got to the point where I was working 2 jobs and still caring for my mother, and I was fed up. I told him that I couldn't carry on like this. He told me that he never wanted to move in the first place and that he would be on the first flight back home. He told me he would leave the one car we had as a parting gift, when in reality I was the one paying the car note and insurance. He left the state and I filed for a legal separation. The state I was in required that you are separated for a year before you could officially file. I waited my time and tried to get the papers sent to his mother's house, the place I knew he was, because I have family that told me that's where he was. He claims he never received them. My mother got better and I decided to stay because I had found a really great job that turned into an actual career. I tried on 4 different occasions to have him served papers, but he always dodged me. I got so discouraged that I gave up. I've completely moved on and I want to start anew with someone else, but this is just looming over me. I was in the process of getting a lawyer when I got a call from his aunt saying that he has passed away and basically it's up to me to plan the funeral arrangements. I feel like this is bullshit. This man left me and even had a child with another woman, and I'm expected to foot the bill because I'm legally married to him, even though I tried multiple times to end it. AITA for not wanting to be a part of any of it? His family wants a burial, and if this is something I have to do, I will cremate him and have his family do what they want with the ashes. I don't give a shit if they want a burial, they don't want to pay for it. Thanks in advance for the advice. Update and a little more info. I'm not sure if this is the official way to update a post. This is my first time posting to Reddit, but here I go. I've decided to get in touch with a lawyer to see my options. We didn't have a lot of assets. We sold our house before we moved out of state. As far as I know, he didn't have a will or anything, but if there's something I do get, I'm almost certain it's not much, and I would rather it go towards his daughter. She's not even 1, and I spoke with her mother and she was under the impression that he was divorced. They had even filled out paperwork to get married, but she left it up to him to file it since she was pregnant and tired, and of course he never did it. I just want to cut all ties with this family and live my life. I don't want to fight family members for money. I will give them one last time to make their own arrangements, and if they refuse, I will do what I want with the body. Not the asshole. Donate his body to science. Not the asshole. You could play a modified version of the 2-card play. Card 1, they deal with all the expenses for whatever funeral they want. Card 2, you claim the body, have it sent to undisclosed mortuary where you arrange for him to be cremated, and then you have the ashes legally disposed of in a location that will remain undisclosed. Their choice. If they want to play the "you're the wife" card, you can do whatever you want. What they want won't matter in the least. Not the asshole, but on a plus note, you should look into survivor SS benefits and whether or not you're eligible for them. You should also speak with a lawyer about his estate, if he has one, and your claim on it. As for his remains, cremation, or you could just abandon the body and let the state's abandoned remains laws take over. Or donate his body to science or a mortuary, etc. school. Not the asshole. He moved on too with another woman and a child. Unless the state says you are legally obligated to pay, let his family handle it. Tell his family the funeral and services are up to them. In my state, if no one can pay for the funeral, the county cremates the person. The remains are given to the next of kin or buried in an unmarked plot in a local cemetery. Sign nothing. Call your attorney. Not the asshole. It sounds like you made multiple attempts to legally sever your ties to him. Wouldn't a legal separation grant some severance? Like no longer financially tied and no longer able to make medical decisions, burial, etc.? If his family is unwilling to pay his expenses, you can always donate his body to science. The remains will then be cremated after. Not the asshole. Because you are still legally married, you can make the decision to cremate him. Tell his aunt that is what you're willing to pay for. If they want a burial, they will need to pay for it. Good luck in this next phase of your life. Not the asshole. You shouldn't spend another nickel on him, and who cares what his family wants? It's got nothing to do with you. Not the asshole. You might bug our legal advice to be sure. It sounds like you should be able to walk away from this. Am I the asshole for not supporting my coworker after she lied to me? I work in a male-dominated field and I'm female. I took to the job extremely fast. One manager calls me rockstar. They gave me a trainee some time back that was also female so that things weren't awkward male, female in a small space. Also because these dudes say offensive things. I took my time explaining everything I knew. Told her why I do the things that I do and how to save her time. Gave her hands-on practice as much as I could handle. It's stressful in a dangerous environment, and giving controls over to someone who can kill us both is overwhelming. She was not understanding the controls. It was taking her weeks to understand something that most people get in 2 days. From what everyone else who has been here for 30 years plus. So thinking it was how I was explaining, I asked everyone else on my crew to take her for a few hours here and there while I was doing super repetitive tasks. I was hoping that it would click with the 6 others saying it in different ways. So week 5 comes around and I'm at the point where I still can't trust her to work on her own. This job we control equipment and do a task. I was positive she knew the task part because we would talk the entire 12-hour shifts about what I was doing, and I would ask her, if you were doing this, what would you do next type of thing, or where we would need to go. A 30 years in coworker told me I have to stop holding her hand and force her to do it on her own, literally stop holding her hand. So first 3 days of this I would explain, let her work and fix everything while saying why she did it wrong. On day 4 I was getting annoyed. She was doing whatever the fuck she was doing. I've never told to do the things that she was, and it was like she didn't pay attention to anything we went over for the past 5 weeks. I was texting, calling during, and saying things like, hey, why don't you try doing what we talked about before you went up? Hey, that goes there, remember? Please look at your notes because time isn't an issue. She got to the point where I would have to correct everything she did for the past 10 hours in only 2 so that the next crew wasn't pissed. I went up there and she lied saying things weren't working or she tried that and didn't work. I got pissed. Why am I wasting my time if she's going to lie to me? I can't help if she's not honest about what she doesn't understand. So I told someone above me to put her with someone else. They did. She refused to even look at me for following month. I was told yesterday that they're making her take the test knowing she's going to fail and be fired. The dude that took her can't stand it anymore and she hasn't improved. No one is going to warn her. It's an amazing job that could really change her life because of the income. Am I the asshole for getting pissed and giving up on her? Edit. Thank you everyone for all of your feedback. It's helped me feel a little bit better about the situation. Stay safe. Not the asshole. It sounds like she's just not suited to this type of work, at best. Or is lazy and doesn't really deserve the role, at worst. You tried your best to help her and supported her for as long and in as best a way as you could. But ultimately, she is responsible for her own actions and work, and you shouldn't feel guilty for not shielding her from being fired if she isn't capable of doing the job. Absolutely not the asshole. It's a job that done poorly or wrong could lead to deaths and injury. She's just not able for it, and that's not your fault. Sounds like you went above and beyond for her as is. Not the asshole. She's incompetent. And a liability. And she's being obstinate. Sometimes people feign incompetence to get other people to do their work for them. Or sometimes they just are not suited to a certain job. Her issue is that she's not just annoyed you but several other workers now. The best thing for you to do is stay out of it and let them find a way to fire her. It was her opportunity and she blew it, not you. Absolutely not the asshole. You tried. You bent over backwards. You assumed yourself to be the problem and tried having others on your team train her for a bit to see if she would pick it up any better. She didn't. After working with not only the others on your team, but also a different trainer entirely, she still doesn't get it. None of that is your fault. If I counted correctly, she has had over 2 months of training when most wouldn't get that much handholding. This is a her problem. Not a you problem. It seems like you want her to succeed in this male-dominated field. Unfortunately, if she isn't getting it, that doesn't seem to be anyone's fault but hers. It doesn't even sound like she was articulating her needs. You are not even close to being not the asshole. People are suited for different jobs. I've hired people who've sucked and then move on to a different career and excel. If you've put effort into training her and done what you can, then that's all you can do. If she takes the test and fails, that is okay. This is not the be-all end-all for her. She will move on and find something she excels at. You've gone above and beyond. She shows no aptitude for the job. Not your problem. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You even self-reflect saying, maybe it's me. A lot of people don't do that with trainee. You gave your maximum. Some people are not ready or cut for certain works. Not the asshole. Not everyone has the aptitude for certain jobs. Since it's a stressful, dangerous environment, why would you even want to keep someone around you can't trust?